In this video, I want to show you how I rendered this Archviz scene with Unreal Engine 5. I'll go over everything ranging from how I prepared the 3D file for Unreal Engine, different ways to bring it into Unreal Engine, how I approach lighting and materials, and finally how I render and color grade my scenes. So let's get into it. I've downloaded this scene from CG Trader. I'll put the link in the description. Using PureRef, I've gathered the renders in one place. I will use these as the reference for the materials and the lighting. I've already prepared the models for Unreal Engine. I won't go through the details of what I did. It's essentially all the things I explained in this video right here. You should be able to see the link in the top right of the screen. In this video, I go over all the things we should consider before bringing our Archviz models into Unreal Engine. So watch it and prepare your file. You can also download the structure I prepared and remodeled from my website. I'll put the link in the description. Now that our 3D model is prepared, let's get the Unreal projects ready. Go to unrealengine.com. From the top right, click on Download. Scroll down and click on Download Launcher. Install the launcher and open it. On the left, go to the Unreal Engine section. Click on Library. Next to Engine Versions, click on the plus icon. And from here, select the version you want to install. We can select all the way to the first Unreal Engine 4 version. I'm gonna select 5.2. Click on Install, then agree with the End User License Agreement. Select the directory you want to install the engine to by clicking on the Browse button. Open Options, scroll down, and from the target platforms, uncheck Everything. We don't need this, and if for some reason we need them in the future, we can always add them to the engine from the Epic Games Launcher. Click Apply and then Install. Epic Games Launcher will download and install Unreal Engine on our computer. Now we can find the Unreal Engine shortcut on the desktop. Open it. After the Unreal Project browser opens, from the left, click on Architecture. Select Blank, choose a location and name for the project, and click on Create. Now that Unreal Editor is open, go to File, New Level, select Empty Level, and click Create. Then from the top left, save the level, and we can name it whatever we want. Open the Environment Light Mixer from the Window menu. Add a skylight, atmospheric light, a sky atmosphere, volumetric cloud, and height fog. Then add a post-process volume. Enable infinite extent so that it affects the whole world. And in the exposure section, set the min and max EV100 to 1. This will turn off the auto exposure in the level. Select all of them in the outliner and put them in a folder. Name it Environment Lighting. That's enough for now. Next, I'm going to go over exporting the file from 3ds Max and importing it into Unreal Engine. And for that, I'm going to use FBX exporter for the structure and datasmith for the furniture. We'll export the structure using the FBX exporter. Select the structure by double-clicking on its layer. We can export it by going to File, Export, Export Selected, or we can use the FBX exporter for Unreal Engine script made by Tom Shannon. Download it from the link in the description. Then install it from the scripting menu, Run a Script. You can add it to your toolbar from Customize, Customize User Interface. Go to Toolbars and from the TS Tools category, add it to your toolbar. Open the script. Uncheck all of these, select an export path, and click on Export Selected Objects. After the export process is finished, go to Unreal Engine. Right-click in the empty space of the content browser. Select Import, then select all the meshes we want to import and click on Open. In the FBX import options window, we just need to change 4 things. Disable generate missing collision, open the advanced menu and disable generate light map UVs. Then scroll down to the material section. Here, change the material import method to do not create material and disable import textures. Click on import all to complete the import process. Save all the new assets, then add them to the level. Move them to the origin of the world, and in the outliner, add them to the structure folder. Before moving on to the next section, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the new Unreal Engine tutorials I'm planning to put here. Also, join our Discord and Facebook community. I'll be happy to see you guys there. The link is in the description. We'll export the furniture using datasmith. You can download datasmith for the software you use from the link in the description. It's free and really easy to install. I'll select all the furniture by double-clicking on its layer. From here, I'll select datasmith and click here to show the full ribbon. Then click on Export Selected to export it. Give it a name and press Save. In order to be able to import the datasmith file, make sure the plugin is enabled. Go to Settings, Plugins, search for datasmith and make sure datasmith importer is active. Then, from the Quickly Add to the Project button, we can import the file. We're just gonna need the geometry. Click on Import and wait for it to be imported. It will be automatically added to the current level. After all the files are imported, we should check them. If there are any issues, we should edit and re-import them. Create a basic white material and assign it to everything in the scene. This is because white has the most powerful effect on the global illumination. We'll start the lighting with white material and then create the materials in the next section. After that, we're gonna finalize the lighting and the materials. Hide the glass and the curtains so the environment light gets in. I'm gonna close the content browser so I have more space for the viewport. Hold Ctrl and L and rotate the directional light. Make sure the directional light and the skylight are set to movable. In the skylight, enable real-time capture. I'll increase the indirect lighting intensity of the directional light. This is better. Then I'll add 3 rake lights just below where the ceiling is, like this, to replicate the artificial light in the room. Increase the width and height of the lights. By doing this, the shadows created by these lights will be soft. Set them to movable and add them to a folder in the outliner. Tweak the parameters of the lights until it looks good. After I'm satisfied with the result, it's time to start working on the materials. Now, let's get to the materials. For the materials, I use my master material and glass materials, which you can download for free on my website. I've also created a video where I explain how to use the glass material with Lumen. I'll put their links in the description. There are some textures provided with the project, but their size isn't a power of 2. Firstly, I will edit their size in Photoshop. Then I will create their normal and roughness textures. I'll import the textures into the project and start to create the materials based on the renders. Let me create the concrete material as an example. Right-click on my master material and select Create Material Instance. Move it to the folder you want. Open it and assign the concrete textures we imported earlier. Assign the material to the floor Then tweak the parameters until the result is satisfying. The rest is just creating and assigning the right material to the right object. I have my references here on the other monitor and keep checking them. And here's the result after creating and assigning the materials. Unreal Engine 5.3 was released when I was recording this part, but I'm gonna use it in the next projects. The material of the objects in the scene influences the GI, so now the room looks darker than when all the materials were white. So I spent some time tweaking the lighting and adding some additional lights in the scene. Now I'm gonna walk you through what I did. Firstly, I tweaked the light intensity and the indirect light intensity of these rec lights until it looked good. Then I reduced the specular scale of the rec lights so their reflection disappears. Looking at the reference renders, we can see that there are some hidden lights. So I added them using rec lights. Then I added some rec lights behind the window. They make the curtains look more realistic. I also added these spotlights beneath the halogens. And finally, I changed some post-process volume settings. The temperature is set to this number to give the space a cooler look. I changed the bloom method to convolution. It's heavier on the GPU but gives the space a better look for cinematics. You can see the difference if I change it to the standard method. Also, these are the numbers that worked for me. In the Lumen Global Illumination Settings section, I increased the quality. These are the numbers that I'm using. In the Lumen Reflections section, I increased the quality and enabled high quality translucency reflection. And in the Local Exposure section, I increased the detail strength just a little bit to add a sharper look to the room. And that's all for lighting. After the lighting was finalized, I finalized the materials by adjusting the colors a little bit. Now let's add a camera. I'll add a Cine Camera actor from the Quickly Add to the Project button on top of the viewport Cinematic. Click on Perspective and select the Cine Camera actor to see through it. We can change the viewport type to Cinematic by clicking on Perspective and selecting Cinematic Viewport. We're gonna have to select the Cine Camera actor again. It will give us some additional controls, like sequencer controls on the bottom of the viewport and composition overlays on the top right of the viewport. Some of the camera details I change are current focal length, current aperture, and manual focus distance under focus settings. I'm gonna set these parameters and move around to find a good view. I also added some other cameras for still shots. Here are the results. In the next sections, I'm gonna add some cameras for cinematic animations too. Don't forget to keep the outliner organized. I have two options to render a still image by taking a screenshot from the viewport. The first one is to press the F9 key on the keyboard while the viewport is active. Then click on this address on the bottom right of the monitor. It opens the folder in which the screenshot has been saved. The quality of this image is low. To have a higher quality, go to the top left of the viewport. Firstly, increase the screen percentage to 200. This way, it renders everything in the viewport twice the size, then compresses it to the actual size. For example, if we render a 2K image, it renders it in 4K and then compresses it back to 2K. The result is a higher quality image with sharper details. Then from here, select high resolution screenshot. I've already maximized the viewport, but press F11 to maximize it if you haven't. Then increase the screenshot size multiplier. 2 is okay. Select capture, then go to the address. As you can see, the name is also different from the other one, and the quality is much higher. Before continuing, I want to let you know that I'm planning to prepare a lot of new Archviz tutorials. Like this video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss them. Also, join our Unreal Engine Discord and Facebook community. You can upload your work in progress, ask or answer questions, share your thoughts on the future of Unreal Engine and more. I'll put the link in the description. So how do we go about rendering an animation with Unreal Engine? For that, I'm gonna use a sequencer. I will right click in the content browser and from cinematics, select the level sequence. Open it and dock it next to the content browser. Add a cine camera actor to the sequencer. I will change the sequencer to 24 FPS and change the show time as to seconds. I want to add a little bit of animation to the camera. I'll move around to find a good view for the start of the sequence. Then I'll add a keyframe for the transform of the camera at the beginning of the sequence. And I will go to the end of the sequence, move the camera to where I want and add a keyframe in here too. We can add keyframes for any of these parameters. Let's play back the sequence. After some trial and error, I can say I'm satisfied with the result. Now let's add some shake to the camera animation. I've already created some camera shake blueprints. You can download them from my website and use them. The link is in the description. Let me show you how to create one. Right click in the content browser and select blueprint class. Down here, search for camera shake and select camera shake base. Name it and open it. Then close it and open it again. This UI is easier to work with. Under root shake pattern, select parallel noise. We can modify its settings from here. Now let's add it to the sequencer. Here I'll click on the plus track icon and under camera shake, I'll select the camera shake I want. Then I'll edit it to encompass the duration of the animation. Here's the result. Now I want to render the sequence, and for that I will use the movie render queue. Go to settings, plugins and search for movie render queue. Make sure that it's turned on. You're gonna have to restart your project if you haven't turned it on. After that, go to your sequencer and click here. The movie render queue window will open. Click on here where it says unsaved config and a new window will open. You can change the settings for your render from here. Add things like anti-aliasing, console variables and game overrides, or change the export format. You can even export multiple formats at the same time. Down here, you can select your renderer. In the output settings, you can change things like where your render will be saved, the file name format, and the output resolution. Up here, you can save your settings as a preset, or you can load a preset if you have it saved before. You can download my presets from the link in the description. I usually do a couple of test renders with the low quality preset, and then when I'm happy with the result, I render the scene using the high quality preset. After selecting the preset, select accept. Make sure everything is saved, then click on render local and wait for the render to finish. After the render is finished, it's time to finalize it in DaVinci Resolve. Click here to open where the image sequence has been saved. I'll select everything and drag it into DaVinci Resolve in the media pool. Right-click on it and in the clip attributes, make sure the FPS is the same as the FPS you rendered out of Unreal Engine. Create a new timeline like this. It will be automatically set as the active timeline. Drag and drop the animation into the timeline. Then go to the color tab. This is where the magic happens. I won't go through my process. It's nothing complicated, just some basic nodes. I'll enable the nodes one by one to demonstrate my process. I tried to add something to the render step by step. And in the end, I'm happy with the result. Before and after. When I'm done, I'll render the animation from the Deliver tab. So that's it for this video. Thanks everyone so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it and I hope it's been helpful. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the new tutorials I'm planning to put here. Also, join our Facebook and Discord community. The link is in the description. If you have any questions, comments or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Now, with all of that being said, I'll see you in the next one.